It's been brought to our attention that some of our British humour doesn't make much sense to our non-British viewers, specifically Americans. Well, that won't do, because today we are reviewing a car that is massive, not literally, in America. So here we have the new Prius, a model that in 1997 started off the whole hybrid phenomenon by virtue of being the first mass-produced one. Since 1997, the butt-ugly Prius has become a bona fide cultural phenomenon, a byword for eco-car, and the go-to runabout for A-list celebrities. And so it follows that it's also a sales smash, with the original trilogy amassing worldwide sales knocking on the door of 4 million. 1.7 of those in America and about the same in Japan. And so with all that ready-made goodwill, Toyota could easily, for the fourth Prius, have just done a George Lucas.
Doing a George Lucas, the act of following up a trilogy of cultural significance with a complete pile of because you know that said trilogy will guarantee the success of said.
Well, has it? The Prius came to the UK in 2000, and since then Toyota sold about 70,000 of them. Now for context, that's about the same number of Golfs that Volkswagen sold in 2015, which sounds a bit rubbish, but when you consider that the last three Priuses... Anyway, when you consider that they were on a scale between weird and just really average, that's not bad at all.
Honestly, the new Prius is really good in pretty much every way. It's practical, it's comfortable, it's economical.
And it's fun to drive. Yeah, I really did just say that. Now, it's not fun to drive like driving the Starship Enterprise or some other Star Wars reference that you might understand, but it genuinely scrapes your expectations off the floor when you turn the wheel. It kind of makes you do this face a lot. And even more impressively, it does that while having the right quality of a good, well-sorted-out SUV. It sort of bobs and floats across the road. And as anybody who's driven a car with a massive battery in it knows, these sorts of cars usually thump across the road in a really horrible way. Speaking of which...
Yes, the battery. You probably already know roughly how a hybrid works by now, but to recap, the Prius couples a 1.8 litre petrol motor with 98 horsepower to an electric motor with 72. The total, weirdly, is 122 horsepower, but because the motors can work together or apart, you can spend much of your time using just the battery, if you're really careful.
Sadly, that level of care just does not exist in the real world. But the result is that this car does unbelievably well in the MPG test. So much so that its average rating is 94.2 miles per gallon, with 70 grams per kilometre of CO2. Now, that is good gas mileage. Now, the hybrid system of the 4th gen Prius here works in pretty much the same way as the other three before it, which means its road manners are similar. So it's still got a noisy CVT gearbox and it still feels pretty slow. But of course, as you would expect, it is lighter and more efficient. Now, what that means is that its average MPG rating is 20 miles per gallon better than before, which is amazing progress. Now, of course, you won't get that, but if you get anything near 60, that's brilliant for a petrol car, right?
And that's only half the story, because that CO2 number means BIK tax for company car drivers is just 11%. And if you live in London Village, you see charge exempt, ain't ya? Plus, Toyota offers fixed price servicing and it comes with a 5-year, 100,000 mile warranty.
It's not quite so straightforward in here. It's kind of a weird mix of futuristic, like this wireless charging pad down here, and NAF 1990s Japan, like this digital speedometer. But it sort of works somehow.
Toyota's touchscreen system is a bit clunky and we still can't work out what to make of this weird mini ceramic effect bathtub thing in the centre console, but generally the quality of the cabin has improved massively, as we're demonstrating now by gingerly caressing all the soft touch surfaces with our pulsating blue tip.
And this is one comfortable driver's chair. And so to the trunk, the boot. Now, with 343 litres, the Prius has a boot that's slightly smaller than class average. The Volkswagen Golf, for example, has a 380 litre boot. But just to demonstrate that size isn't everything, thankfully, here is a Jaguar XF. Now, it has a massive boot on paper. And here is a drum. Check this out. not going anywhere. But in the Prius, with its inferior boot size, bosh, straight in. Now that's road testing, or should I say, roadie testing. But even more impressive than that is what's on this list. Golden Grahams, milk, anisole. What? Oh, this isn't the list, you guys. It's what's on this list. 15-inch alloy wheels, automatic lights, automatic wipers, road sign detection, reversing camera, adaptive cruise control, lane departure warning, Bluetooth, it goes on and on. That's amazing because that's just the base model Prius. Go Prius! What? It costs how much?
Will an epic list price spell the end for the Prius? Tune in to HonestJohn.co.uk now to find out.